birth is so spiritual. And when we deduce it to something just physical, like, oh, your body just has to open and you grow, you open to 10 centimeters and then you push out this 8-pound baby, and it's so mechanical. And it just does such a disservice to women and truly representing the holistic, deeply spiritual nature of childbirth, which is what you're describing, and the way that our heart and our emotions and our spirit carry emotions that show up physically in our body, and that you are carrying this grief. That's what I'm hearing, is like this pain, this grief. You had to allow yourself to grieve, and thankfully you knew enough, you were wise enough to actually ask for that space. How many women just shove it down and think they have to hold it all together for the midwife, the doula, the photographer, the woman in the room next door in their hospital? They don't want to scare anybody or be too loud or be too emotional. And we do this, like, we try to hold it all together, when what our body truly needs, our spirit truly needs, is to actually become a mess, to let it all go, to fall apart instead of trying to hold it together. Like, we have to
Yes.
fall apart. And I just love that you gave yourself full permission to completely fall apart and move through all the emotions that you were carrying. And not just like one, person grieving over the loss of relationships, but it was like wave after wave after wave. And then the contractions that coming and washing that away. It's like when you release your body, it like gives your body permission to fully lean into labor even more, because you're no longer fighting it. You're not resisting. Like, when we're carrying that emotional baggage and that weight of grief or pain or loss or heartache, I feel like our body has to work double time, because it's not only trying to open and release and contract, but it's also carrying this emotional weight, and it's substance. It's like energetic substance in our bodies. And so many labors I've seen have like a 180-degree turn when the woman did exactly what you did and had an emotional release and let go of whatever was troubling her heart. And I just am in awe of this, that you took an entire hour or so to just cry. Like, that's the bravest thing you could do. And we think, oh, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be, to be so vulnerable. And yet birth calls us to those depths of vulnerability and weakness and neediness, to the point where we can't hold on to it anymore. And we have to let go. So I just like, I just congratulate you. Like, I am in awe of that story, and it's such a beautiful picture of what happens in birth that is so normal and so physiological and so needed for so many women.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I could not agree more with everything you just said. And to the tune of what you were saying too about, women wanting to hold everything in and, just push it all aside. That's one thing that really like pains me whenever I see women with epidurals and they're posting these videos and they're like pushing their baby out and they're just like joking about what they're going to have for dinner. And, that's great. If that's what you want, truly, like, more power to you. That's your decision. But for me, I can't imagine stifling that part of my birth experience,
Yeah.
because by having that complete numbness where you can't feel anything that's going on and you're just, joking around about video games and stuff or whatever it is, you're really just, you're missing out on such a beautiful opportunity, because it is spiritual and it's emotional and it's physiological. And there's so many of these big aspects that just get completely missed whenever we have a woman who's just anesthetized, I mean,
Yeah.
and so really it
It's
made me
so true.
thankful.
And yes, and it's like you're not just numbing the pain, you're numbing the feeling. You're numbing the
Yes.
emotion. And
Hmm.
I feel like it's often to avoid feeling, to avoid
Yes.
that exact release that you're talking about, because it does get so intense. We're confronted with this wall, and it's not just a physical pain, it is an emotional like confrontation of like, in order to move on to this next phase of labor, I have to dump all this. Like, I have to have an emotional release. And
Yeah.
some of us hold on so tight to control that getting the epidural is almost, it's like in order to avoid really feeling not just the
Hmm.
pain, the sensation, the uncomfortable physical feeling, but the emotional pain as well. And so,
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with getting the pain medicine, and there's women that have where it becomes really useful. I've seen births where it's
Yeah.
like really needed for mom. She needs a break. Her body needs a break. She needs a rest, but make it an intentional thing, an empowered thing. And I would just encourage the women who, don't, no need to feel guilty over it, but don't do it to avoid feeling what you need to feel in labor.
Yes. Yes. In midwifery school right now, in this textbook I'm reading by Anne Fry, she says in our Western society, people treat pain like it's death, and really
Yeah.
they want to bypass all the parts of labor that God intentionally designed. Like, we're impatient, but God designed labor to be a process where we don't know when things are going to happen and we can't put it on our schedule. And so our impatience is supersede and our, want for an elective induction because we are just so impatient. That's superseding God's, the way he designed birth to be spontaneous and in
Yeah.
his own timing, and our want for, for everything to be completely, without, like, to not work hard for it. You know what I mean? We want to just be able to just let it happen and
Yeah.
just chill the whole time. It's not made to be a process like that. God designed it to be a process that is completely transforming if you let
Yeah.
it be, so
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. It's meant to be a rite of passage. It's meant to be
yes.
transformational. It's not, he never promised it to be easy and convenient and on our schedules.
Hmm.
And I think so many times we are confronted with our need to be in control, to be on our schedule, to have our expectations met. And yet motherhood is none of those things.
Hmm.
like like if
Yeah.
you're going to through this transition from maiden to mother, there is a letting go, there is a death, there is a surrender, and that is beautifully represented in the birth process. There is a
Yes.
death to self and a rebirth. So, and what a beautiful way that we can do that. When we embrace that, we can do that with joy. We can even
Mm.
do it without pain for the most part.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's not hard. It doesn't mean it doesn't require so much from us, that it
Yes.
really requires our all. It requires our full and complete surrender. And people sometimes hear pain-free birth and they go, well, that's just crazy. But it's actually one of the most intense spiritual, physical, emotional things you'll do, when you allow yourself to fully feel everything, but you don't have to fight it and resist it.